this whiskey out. Well, I've never seen anything like it. When we got into bed at night, he smelt of whiskey, and it was laughable because he didn't like whiskey until then. So he enjoyed whiskey ever since. And our tractor, it smelt of whiskey for weeks after. In fact, I made people laugh when I said it nearly ran on whiskey.
Here are some photographs of typical accidents on Shap over the years.
Well, in the old days, I mean, the traffic, it just never stopped. In fact, at night, it was noisier at night. When I had visitors staying, if they had the windows opened, they thought it was terrible, really. Because, as I say, it was busier at night than through the day. But once the motorway had opened, it opened at 1:30 one day, and within the first half hour, it just went absolutely dead. And as I say, we couldn't sleep at night because until we got used to it. And that was how we used to know it had snowed during the night in the olden days, because everything suddenly went quiet, and because the noise had gone, because all the traffic was stopped, that used to waken us up, and we used to think, oh, it must have snowed.
Well, the whole thing wasn't a sudden activity. It wasn't a sudden change from motorway or from high road to motorway. The whole thing happened in a series of fragmented jerks. I mean, the first thing that happened was that they built a bypass round Preston. And of course, once you got on this Preston bypass, it was whoopee, no speed restrictions, so everybody had their clog hard down. And gradually, of course, the whole of these bypasses of the northern towns were linked together, and this became the M6. But it was whoopee on the bypasses before the whole thing was strung together as one major road.
A husband, on waking up one morning, turned to his wife and said, "Is it snowing?" And she said, "No, why?" He said, "Well, the stillness is absolutely incredible." And she said, "Oh, you silly thing, the motorway opened yesterday. It's, this is what we're going to enjoy," which was the case. And immediately prior to this section of the motorway opening, it all sort of shot off the end of the existing M6 down about Preston, and it all found its way nose to tail over the fell and through Shap. And in fact, quite a lot of the elderly people just dead across the road. Some of them hadn't seen their across the road neighbour for goodness knows how long. It was probably only at the dead of night they set out. There's a story actually which is relevant to the 40-mile speed limit, which a lot of people raise an eyebrow at, and apparently this stems from the fact that we had a quite celebrated police sergeant resident here, and it was his theory that if the speed was up to 40 miles an hour, at least it would keep moving, because it used to more or less grind to a halt, particularly during the Glasgow and Edinburgh holiday weekends, which was something to be seen. I'll tell you, there's coaches intermingled with the haulage vehicles and private cars as well, and really it was a case whereby they probably tried to stop here but weren't able to by virtue of the fact that it was a moving traffic jam.
Well, to me, it's a lovely road now. It's nice when all the heavy traffic's gone off onto the motorway, and if you're travelling from Kendal to Shap and wanting to get onto the motorway, I mean, there are 3 other alternatives, but you definitely must come the Shap Road it's the most scenic view, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And me, having never lived anywhere else here all my life, I just can't imagine living anywhere else. And we have such a social life out in the country. A lot of people that stay with me say, "How on earth do you exist out in the country?" and then we begin to talk, and we